Welcome to Pink Blade. Here, we don't just watch stories, we step inside them. Today, we're diving deep into Bridgerton Season 2, Episode 1.
And we are stepping into a very different ballroom this time around. We are dissecting the premiere, capital R Rake.
Which essentially just flips the table on everything we learned in Season 1.
Yeah.
I remember watching that first season. It was this glittering, sugar-spun fairy tale. You had the discovery, the innocence. But looking at the sources for this second season premiere, the showrunner, Chris Van Dusen, made a very deliberate choice to drop the fantasy. This isn't about the spark anymore.
Yeah.
It's about the grind.
That is the perfect way to frame it. The Marriage Mart in Season 1 was presented as this place of wonder, almost like a candy shop. In Season 2, Episode 1, it is a tactical military operation.
Completely.
We're seeing it through Anthony Bridgerton's eyes, and for him, this is not a party. It's a job interview.
A very grueling one. I mean, he's literally interviewing women like he's hiring a mid-level manager for a logistics firm. Are your hips suitable? Do you read Greek?
Can you bear children efficiently? It is transactional to the point of being offensive. But, and the research here is so key, he isn't doing this just because he's a narcissist. He's doing it because he is terrified.
Right. You have to look at that recurring visual motif in this episode, the bee.
The bee, yes.
For casual viewers, it might just look like a pest buzzing around. But if you know the backstory, and the show hints at this so heavily with his reaction, that bee represents the death of his father.
Exactly. Anthony isn't operating out of arrogance. Even though he struts around like he owns London, he is operating out of trauma.
He believes he has to secure the family line immediately. He's convinced he's running out of time. So when he says he wants a tolerable wife to remove love from the equation, that's actually a defense mechanism.
It is. He thinks love is the thing that destroys you when you lose it. So logically, if you never love the wife, you can never be hurt.
He's trying to hack grief.
Precisely. He wants to build a fortress where loss cannot touch him. And that fortress of logic is exactly what makes the arrival of the Sharma family so combustible.
They are the battering ram that is about to smash that fortress to pieces.
And the Sharmas have their own fortress. You have Lady Mary returning to the scene of her scandal, and then you have Kate. The sources describe Kate as having oldest daughter syndrome on steroids.
Oh, it's a severe case.
She has completely sublimated her own identity to be the gatekeeper for her younger sister, Edwina. Kate isn't looking for a match for herself. She's there to manage Edwina's career. She's the manager, the protector, the coach.
All rolled into one. But there is that massive, pragmatic secret lurking underneath all the silk, the Sheffield dowry.
And that changes the stakes entirely. They aren't just looking for a husband for Edwina because it's proper.
They're broke.
They are broke. If Edwina doesn't marry an English noble, the Sharmas are financially ruined. So when Kate is being so aggressive with suitors, it isn't just sisterly protection, it's survival.
It adds such a layer of stress to every single dance. And sitting atop this whole powder keg is Queen Charlotte. The notes mention she is more erratic in this premiere.
She isn't just picking a diamond for fun. She is trying to outmaneuver Lady Whistledown.
It's a total power play. Whistledown humiliated the crown last season. The queen needs a win. She needs to prove she still holds the leash of society.
So if you look at the board, you have a desperate Viscount, a desperate sister, and a desperate queen.
Which is why the narrative structure of this episode is just so effective. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
The queen traps Anthony by naming Edwina the diamond. Anthony, being a perfectionist, decides he must have the diamond.
But the diamond is guarded by the one person who sees right through his act, Kate.
It is a game-over scenario for Anthony's logic. To get what his head wants, the perfect debutante on paper, he has to go through the one woman who triggers his heart.
It sets up the classic enemies to lovers trope, but it works because it's based on intellectual parity.
That is a huge distinction. In Season 1, the conflict was about innocence and discovery. Here, it feels like Pride and Prejudice. Anthony and Kate don't just have chemistry.
They have friction, they challenge each other, they're both alpha characters.
And that friction is so crucial because it humanizes Anthony. I think a lot of viewers found him insufferable in Season 1.
Oh, the controlling big brother, yeah.
But in this premiere, when you see him crossing names off his list, rubbing his temples, you don't see a villain. You see a man drowning in responsibility.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics of how they built this tension. Because the episode delivers 3 specific scenes that do all the heavy lifting. The first one has to be the dawn ride in Windsor Great Park.
This is their meet cute. But notice how it breaks all the rules. Anthony spots a woman riding astride at dawn.
which for the era was wildly scandalous. Ladies' roadside saddle. Riding astride implies a rejection of social norms. It's masculine, it's
It's
efficient.
free. It signals to Anthony instantly. This woman is not a debutante. She isn't performing for society. And when he chases her, she outpaces him.
She does.
That chase sequence establishes their entire dynamic without a single word. Competition is their love language. Kate isn't a damsel to be saved. She's an opponent to be bested.
And when they finally stop and talk, the dialogue mirrors itself. He asks a question, she throws it right back at him. It shows they're on the same frequency. They're listening to each other with an intensity they just don't give to anyone else.
Then we move to the conservatory ball. The moment everything goes wrong. Anthony is out on the terrace, performing for the boys, listing his requirements for a wife like he's buying a horse.
Suitable whips, have a brain. And Kate hears every single word. This is the Lizzie Bennet overhearing Mr. Darcy moment. It is iconic.
It is perfectly ripped from Austen. And Kate confronts him, and she absolutely dismantles him. She tells him, your character is as deficient as your horsemanship.
Wow.
It is the first time in his life someone has told him no and really, truly meant it.
But the nuance here, and the script notes point this out, is the slip. While she's dressing him down, she accidentally admits she finds his smile pleasing before she catches herself.
That is the crack in the armor. It tells the audience that her hatred isn't simple dislike, it's a defense against attraction.
So she hates him because she's drawn to him.
And that terrifies her. She recognizes that he is dangerous to her peace of mind.
That attraction makes the third key sequence, the montage of the Rake, hit even harder. We see Anthony back in interview mode, just aggressively scratching names off his list.
The sound design there is so visceral. The scratching of the quill is loud, it's violent, scratch, it just emphasizes his detachment. He doesn't see these women as human.
He sees them as functionaries. It highlights his internal panic and contrasts so sharply with the spark he felt with Kate. With the debutantes, he's bored. With Kate, he is alive.
Yes.
I want to pivot to the pink blade specialty, the technical breakdown, because this season has a very different look and feel, and it starts with the music.
It does. The string quartet covers are a Bridgerton staple, but the choices here are doing very specific narrative work. Take the cover of Nirvana's Stay Away.
Which plays during that aggressive montage we were just talking about.
Right. Stay Away. The title is literal. Anthony is pushing connection away. But the arrangement, those frantic, aggressive strings, they mimic his cortisol levels. It's jagged. It isn't a waltz. It's a panic attack set to music.
It's a subconscious signal to the audience that this isn't a fun montage, it is a crisis montage.
Absolutely. And then for the Sharma's entrance, we get Madonna's Material Girl.
Which is a cheeky but very pointed commentary.
The Sharmas are entering a material world where their worth is being calculated in dowries and jewels and connections. They're entering the lion's den of judgment.
And naturally, for the Queen's selection of the diamond, we get Rihanna's diamonds.
Of course, which creates this incredible atmospheric pressure, shine bright. It just underscores the competitive nature of the season.
Yeah.
Being the diamond isn't just about being pretty, it's about winning.
Let's talk about the visual storytelling. The costume designer, Sophie Canale, did something really interesting with color theory this season, specifically with the Sharmas.
She used a concept called jewel tones. If you look at the background, they're all in pastels. Creams, light blues, yellows.
Very confectionery.
Yes. The Sharmas are in deep eggplant, witch pinks, and teals. It visually isolates them. They literally pop off the screen. It marks them as outsiders, but also as something richer, maybe more substantial.
And the fabrics tell a story too, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Kate is often in heavy taffetas and stiff fabric. She looks armored, rigid. Edwina, by contrast, is in soft, airy fabrics. She looks moldable and compliant.
But the detail that blew my mind in the research was the teal connection.
This is brilliant color theory. Kate wears a deep teal during the writing scene and again at the ball. Anthony is almost exclusively in navy and teal vests.
So visually, the costume department is matching them before the script even allows them to be friends. They're cut from the same cloth.
It's such a subtle way to prime the audience.
Now, how are they capturing all this? The cinematography feels glowier this season.
It's the lifted look. The DP, Jeffrey Jur, used the Sony Venice camera, which, for the tech heads listening, is a 6K camera, massive sensor. But the reason they chose it is for how it renders skin tones and fabric. It's softer.
It looks like a painting.
They specifically referenced Renoir. They wanted to avoid the gritty, dark look of a lot of other period dramas. They kept the shadows open. They even used balloon lights.
Wait, why balloons?
Because in these historic locations, you cannot touch the walls. You can't rig heavy lights to a 300-year-old tapestry. So they floated the lights above the actors. It creates this soft, omnidirectional glow.
So that soft, romantic vibe is literally light floating in the air. That's wild.
Exactly. And they paired that with ARI signature prime lenses, which give you that perfectly round bokeh.
Bokeh being the blurry lights in the background.
Right. When the background goes out of focus, the shape of the light is determined by the lens. These lenses make perfect circles, which subconsciously feels more pleasing, more fable-like. It tells us we are in a heightened reality.
Which brings us to the people inhabiting that reality. What were the actors trying to convey in this premiere?
Well, Jonathan Bailey, who plays Anthony, he had a really insightful take. He describes Anthony as being arrested in trauma. He says Anthony loves his family, but does not love himself.
That is heartbreaking, but it explains so much of his jerky behavior.
It does. He's seeking a marriage that removes the risk of heartbreak.
Yeah.
If he doesn't love himself, he doesn't believe he deserves a love match. He thinks he's doing everyone a favor by being cold.
And what about Simone Ashley's take on Kate?
She views Kate as observant and reserved, that she keeps her cards close to her chest. Simone mentions that Kate identifies Anthony as a red flag immediately, not just because he's arrogant, but because she recognizes the performance.
Real recognizes real.
Exactly. She sees a man who is acting a role just like she is. And the showrunner, Chris Van Dusen, he emphasized that the goal was to make them messy.
Messy people.
Anthony and Kate are tortured. They are psychologically messy people.
And that messiness really resonated with the fans. Looking at the reception, the phrase capital R Rake became instant vernacular.
Oh, it defined the season. Fans loved that Kate didn't just dislike him. She had a specific vocabulary for his toxicity. She wasn't intimidated by his title at all.
And the chemistry debate was settled pretty much instantly during that terrace scene.
The eye contact, that was the main talking point. The tension of holding back. Fans were comparing it to classic literary romances immediately. It proved that you don't need explicit scenes to create heat.
Sometimes the restraint is hotter.
The fact that they didn't touch was what made it electric.
There was also a lot of appreciation for the cultural integration, the change from the Sheffields in the book to the Sharmas in the show.
And it was handled with so much care. Fans noticed the paisley or bow-tie motifs in the costumes, the rose gold jewelry, and how it blended Regency silhouettes with Indian heritage. It felt respectful and specific. It wasn't just colorblind casting, it was culturally specific storytelling.
So we have the setup. We have the technical mastery. We have the psychological stakes. As we wrap up this deep dive, where does this premiere leave us thematically?
I think it leaves us with a paradox. The episode poses a question. Is it possible to satisfy the cold demands of duty without extinguishing the light of your own heart?
It feels like Anthony and Kate are running in opposite directions. Him toward duty, her toward protection. But they're actually running away from the same thing.
Vulnerability. They are both obsessed with armor. So the season is setting up the question. Can two people who are so good at protecting themselves and everyone else ever feel safe enough to put the shield down?
It suggests that maybe the only person who can handle a dragon is another dragon.
Beautifully put. They're the only ones strong enough to break each other's defenses.
And that is where capital R Rake leaves us. On the precipice of a battle that looks a lot like love. Thanks for listening to Pink Blade. If this episode revealed something new, you can follow to explore the next chapter. And if a moment stayed with you, share it in the comments. Until next time, this is Pink Blade.